Good morning again, everyone, and welcome back to the KSR YouTube channel. Today we're going to do something a little different than what we normally do. I'm going to kind of touch on what's going on here in the shop. Kind of an update on a few of the different cars that you guys maybe have seen in the background, as well as our plans for them, what our next big project is, somewhat big project, and then some of the other things we've got coming up racing-wise here in the very near future. Hopefully I can remember a little bit about everything that's going on here in the shop. I'll probably forget a few things because, you know, that happens. But let's go ahead and get started. Walk you guys around and show you what we've been up to. Well, the first order of business is the Chevy 2. You guys saw it at LS Fest. Things went really great off the trailer, and then we had some things kind of fall apart. Nothing really on the car fell apart, except for as we turned the boost up, we were losing crankshaft sensor signal, crankshaft position sensor signal. I mean, the data showed it going from 7,050 RPM to like 100 RPM and then 0 in less than 1/10 of a second. That's physically impossible when an engine is spinning that fast. So that points to the crankshaft sensor signal. It's kind of known issue with the dart blocks. Dart, if you're watching, I'm hearing some rumors y'all still ain't fixed this. I mean, what the heck? All you gotta do is mill that pocket a little deeper for where the sensor goes. Anyways, hopefully they'll fix that. For us, what we're gonna do is actually add a trigger wheel that mounts to the balancer. Holly sells one and it puts the crankshaft sensor signal, or the crankshaft sensor itself right here, all external, all easy to access, all good things. So that's gonna be a big improvement there. Travis is back here in the back working on the parachute, fixing my hole that I drilled crooked in my late night thrash. I kind of drilled that crooked in the night before LS Fest. Yeah, I was tired. It was like 11 o'clock at night. And when I drilled that crooked, that was the final straw. And I was like, forget it. I'm loading up, going to LS Fest. So we have to also, we've got a little leak on the gas tank drain, which is kind of a bummer. We didn't put any sealer on it. We just assumed that, yeah, we assumed that's the problem right there. So we assumed that that didn't have, so we assumed that that had some sealer on it when we got it from the company that built it. Apparently it didn't, because it started leaking not long after we filled it up with fuel the first time. And then we didn't want to take the time to drain it down because we were trying to get other things done for LS Fest. She's got a nice coating of rubber on her. Yes. I like burnouts. What can I say? And really, these tires are really old. Sean had got them from a buddy of his. I honestly didn't think they were going to work, but big old 315, maybe the tire doesn't have to be 100%. We were only going high 120s to 60 foot. So once we start really tuning this thing up, the tire may show itself.
Give me some rags.
That happened in the background. That'd be freaking awesome. Travis is trying to burn the car down right behind my back. There's probably more than 5 gallons in there.
I know this.
That's the other jug. Live action. So other than those couple of things, we've got to finish mounting the front of the hood, put the bumpers on it, and really take this thing back to the track. So parachute bumpers. I've got a list over there on the wall, some little touch-up things that we got to do. But other than that, this one's pretty well ready to go back to Sean. I don't think we're gonna pop off all the frame section and have it powder coated. We're gonna get some more laps on the car, let Sean get in it and drive it, see if anything else needs to be changed, added, etc. But yeah, crankshaft sensor signal, mount the bumpers. We are building a belly pan because the diaper just hung too low. and we were on a real bad transition back in the back pits, and we actually caught the diaper on the ground, kind of put a big scratch in it. Didn't blow a big hole in it, but it's not the best, so we're gonna fix that. And then some minor programming stuff related to the crankshaft sensor signal. I don't even know if I gotta change that. I will for the tooth count. So that's pretty much it with that car. Next, we've got Lee's twin turbo yellow Viper. We have had it cranked up and running. We fixed a bunch of oil leaks before we got it running. We got it running and we have some more oil leaks. Not too big of a deal. You see we got most of our stuff neatened up underneath it. The oil leaks, we finally isolated down. Both of the turbo drains are leaking. So you can kind of see the oil hanging on it there. So we are going to be taking these off. They have an O-ring underneath them, and these actually have a screen built in them because the oil lines go right to the dry sump pump, which is right in here. See, the dry sump pump is actually mounted right to the side of the oil pan. It's actually a very, very, very nice piece. There's an O-ring in this. You can maybe see the seam there. So there's an O-ring above that panel that needed to be replaced. So we took care of all that. Got the shifter set up, all of that working. Bump box wired up. Most of the stuff we kind of neatened up under here, enough to go take the thing to the track. But pretty much the next thing for this is going to be getting this on the dyno, doing a little tuning work, and then taking it to FL2K down at Bradenton, which I think is in 3 weeks. I don't remember 100%, but I think it's in 3 weeks. All right, next car in the shop, or it's actually a truck. This is an older C10. I have no idea the year. I don't know specifics of vehicles, probably like I should, but too much other stuff rattling around in my head. But this truck is in for an exhaust job. So you can see we got us some mufflers, a bunch of different mandrel bends. We're gonna do a real nice stainless steel mandrel bend exhaust system on this thing. Make our own X pipe to fit, you know, tuck it up tight because this thing is low. You can see how low it is here. Well, it's 4 inches off the ground on the rollers, and it's already really low. So this thing actually has a supercharged LT4 in it, the new engine. And I think we're supposed to get it running. So we've got to plumb the fuel system after we get done with the exhaust job. I don't know if we can get it running though, because it doesn't even have an engine harness. I guess we'll see where that's gonna go. So another car that you guys have seen quite a bit of and seen lots of comments asking about it is Grant's Miata. This is Grant's little road race time attack. Basically a little rocket ship. And for those of you that some of you guys kind of saw it, it's not K-swapped. I think this is an F20. So the engine is from an early 2000s S2000. Say that 5 times real fast. And this sucker is fast. Makes about 250 wheel horsepower if I remember right. It's on AEM engine management right now. Was stock for a while. Grant recently switched it over to AEM. We had done a header and full exhaust on this car. You kind of see the motor is slid back. We just recently redid the fuel system. Fabricated this crazy elephant snout of a pipe, and it ties right to the screen and the bumper. So it's kind of ram air right into the throttle body. We did the headlight mounting on the thing. It's got 3 different sets of headlights to aim out different directions. And the plan for this car is to do some races with the World Racing League. So that's an endurance racing type setup, or endurance racing type organization. And they race all over the place. Grant's other car, the silver chop top car, they raced that in the Champ Car Endurance Series. May also set up for some other series, but so far they've won 2 or 3 races with that car and finished second on another day. Like Grant and Chuck are absolutely killing it with that car, which we'll go back and show you where that car is hiding out here in just a second. But yeah, this thing, lots of aero, big huge splitter, big huge wing on the back. The car doesn't weigh a whole lot. I want to say it's 2,100 pounds with the driver in the car. So you combine that with some real good brakes, real good tires, real good aero, and this thing will flat boogie around the road course track. It's not huge on top speed, like say for Daytona or VIR or even Sebring, but it more than makes up for it in the corners. So on the short tracks, Atlanta Motorsports Park, Road Atlanta, it's kind of borderline either way. Sebring's kind of borderline either way. But the shorter tracks, Barber Motorsports Park, Roebling Road, all kinds of different places that Grant's been to, it's real fast. Might be for sale soon. So for anybody interested, you can hit us up and we'll let you know if Grant decides to sell the thing. So our next big project, you guys have been seeing this in the background. It's been here a while. It's been slated to slide in right behind Sean's car for a long time, and Sean's car took longer than, you know, they always take longer than you think they're going to take. But this is our next big project, and a lot of the work has already been done. We did the front end mount on it probably 8-9 months ago. This is a Rock Solid Motorsports, I think, the tube front end kit, and that sucker there takes a lot of work to get the headlights lined back up where they're supposed to go. It's kind of a lot of work, but the engine is almost done. So we've got some different engine packages that we build for kind of more basic stuff than, like, you know, the real high-end engines. But this is going to be a stock bottom end 5.3 Gen 4 rods and pistons, similar to what we originally did in Soccer Mom. And we know about what Soccer Mom ran. It's going to have an 80mm turbo on it, all Holley fuel injection. A lot more basic than what Sean's car is. Not going to have near the data on it that Sean's car does, or Soccer Mom, or Mullet, or any of those, or the Lawn Dart. And we got a lot of cars we've built out of here. But the engine harness is done. The engine is mounted. We've already had a mock-up block in it. So my oil pan comes in Friday for it, and head gaskets. I had to get a different head gasket because the pistons were hanging out of the hole just a little bit. So I didn't want to run the head gasket that I had previously ordered for the engine, put the piston too close to the cylinder head. So we got some head gaskets coming Friday, oil pan. This thing slides down in here. We start working on the turbo system. There'll be some videos coming up on this. This is a 4th gen F body. See, there's his intake. We mounted the seat in it, did a lightweight steering column. We did a TRZ anti-roll bar in the back of the car, the bolt-on setup. It's an awesome unit for those of you guys with 3rd or 4th gen F bodies. Literally bolts on. You weld 4 tabs to the rear end housing, and it's an anti-roll bar that we personally have run mid-7s with. So really, really good piece. Replaces the panhard rod and everything. So you get a panhard rod and anti-roll bar. Weld 4 tabs. Run mid-7s. I mean, you got to handle the power plant, but you got rear suspension good enough for mid-7s. This one, we're still waiting on parts. We don't want to talk about that. The shocks disappeared in California. The guy that we have doing is having some medical problems. I don't want to fly to California to get my stuff, but we need them back. So the last thing I'm going to show you in the shop, it's in the back room. We got some new stuff to show you back there. So hold on just one second. So in our back room, in the dyno room, we've made quite a bit of changes. Some of you guys saw that I bought the auto stacker from Cletus, and that's where it ended up. So we've got the Champ Car / Burnout Rivals SC300 up there on the auto stacker. I'm gonna try and get that to Cletus and Cars Houston, and then Cletus and Cars Bradenton. And I got something. You know, she don't have a lot of power. She only makes 215 wheel horsepower, so I gotta really work it to get the smoke going. But I think I'm gonna put some nitrous on there. And I'm gonna turn the exhaust up out the hood, do something silly. Might have one more surprise up my sleeve that I think will be entertaining, if nothing else, let's say that. But we've got to get some work done on the stuff that's in the front shop. See if we can free up some time to spend some time on this car so that I can burn another set of tires off of it quicker than what I had been doing in the past. Like I said, it really makes 215, 210 wheel horsepower. So far, I haven't scattered it, which I'm actually kind of surprised about because, I mean, it was 260-degree water temp and the oil temp was buried around past 300. But we do race the cars with them that hot on the oil temps. We run a really good engine oil. It's a Motul brand. You guys have ever heard of that? We did some oil analysis on that years ago and discovered that was kind of the best oil that we could find for endurance racing, because our original foray into endurance road racing was with this car, which is hiding over at another friend's shop. And we did a lot of testing on the oil to make sure the oil wasn't getting beat up. I mean, we were running 14-hour races minimum, sometimes as long as 24-hour races. And when you're beating a car that long at 300 degree oil temps, you guys can imagine the oil gets abused and breaks down. But the oil we've been using, the Motul stuff, still has viscosity at the end of the race. It's freaking awesome. And this is two other cars. Well, not two other cars. That's the same 300ZX. And then this is a car we completely built in-house. An SC300, car number 225. You see that's car number 226. The 300ZX is 223. We also had a 240SX that was car number 224. That car is over at my buddy David's shop, where this is actually where the 300ZX is as well. And he's trying to sell that car. Another car that we've run in the Champ Car Endurance Series. The 300ZX we won 2 races with. The 225 Lexus ST300, I believe we won 11 races with that car. We had a streak at Sebring during their 14-hour race, not the 12-hour race. The Champ Car Series did a 14-hour race, usually in the fall, September. Sometimes, I think one of them even was into October. But we had a streak there between the 300ZX. We won the first 2 years with that car, and then the next 7 years we finished third once, and every other race was a win. No, we finished third twice, and then every other race was a win. So 5 more wins there, so 2 wins. Knocks us on 7. 7 minus 2, another 5. So yeah, 5 wins in that car at Sebring. And then we also had the 240SX finished third 1 year. That ST300 also won 3 years in a row at Daytona with David, Lee, that's got all the Vipers, and myself driving. We just flat kicked some butt for those years. Like the 3 of us driving on point. And I'm really, tell you what, I need to get my stuff back out and go Champ Car racing again. I miss it, because it's 2 hours in a car at a time, as fast as you can go, unless you're under caution, which you can't go fast under caution. But that's some fun stuff. It's different than the drag racing world. It's a whole lot of fun. But anyways, that's gonna wrap up this video. Appreciate everybody watching, subscribing. Please subscribe if you haven't. We'll see you guys next time.